Good evening. Thank you for watching. It is appreciated as always. The Labour Party conference is going as well as we can expect, which means it is an absolute train wreck, a car crash. And they've basically just proven everybody correct. They are unfit to rule. They do not represent the working class. And if you think you need migration control, or you go on a Unite the Kingdom rally, you're a skinhead, you're a racist, you're a gammon. Now, there's a couple of specific things I want to point out in the video, which we'll get to later. But the first things first, it turns out that our Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, is actually a racist. She's a big, big racist, at least according to the rhetoric used by Keir Starmer yesterday. So we're going to look at this first of all. Migrants will have to contribute or leave Britain. Right to settle will be dependent on not claiming benefits, Shabana Mahmood has declared today. She's also said that indefinite leave to remain is going to increase to 10 years as opposed to 5. She's also said that you need to do work in the community. You have to prove your worth to Britain. All sounds very reformy. Very, very reformy. The only thing that she's not done is said that she's going to remove indefinite leave to remain to the Boris wave. So all of the illegal migrants that came in during Boris Johnson's time in office, they'll get to stay, but the newbies may have to jump through some additional hoops. So that's the first thing. We've got an extremely racist Home Secretary. Now that's not just against the indigenous white man and woman, that's against all the migrants that she plans to bring in as well. So that's the first thing I wanted to say on her. We'll get to her a bit later in the video again. We'll backpedal back to her in a bit. So the second thing I wanted to say regarding this car crash of a conference is we've got a housing minister that doesn't even know how many houses have been completed out of the 1.5 million promised by Angela Rayner, the Ginger Growler, before last year's general election.
How many homes have you built so far under Labour?
Well, do you know how long it takes for a planning application to go through?
Just how many?
Do you know how long
Just
it takes?
give me the figure.
Well, we're currently dealing with the tail end of what the Conservatives are doing, because it takes more than 18 months from an application to the home being built.
Indeed, just answer the question. Just answer the question.
Please answer the question.
No, but I'm not going to take the blame for what the Tories did.
No,
I'm going to take the blame for what Labour does if it goes wrong subsequently.
Can you
we're
take
changing the rules to speed up planning so that the problem we're seeing now doesn't happen again in future.
How many houses have been built under Labour so far?
Starts have gone up by 29%.
That's not an answer. Answer the question. She's asking you a very, very simple question. It's almost like you don't take your brief seriously. It's almost like you don't actually know what your job entails. We already know that the 1.5 million aren't going to be built. We already know this. Information's come out to say the 1.5 million won't be built. The infrastructure's not there to support this. You need new reservoirs, you need all sorts of utilities locally, and nothing's been built. We haven't had a reservoir built in England since the 1990s, and we've not had a reservoir built in Scotland since the 1980s. I'm not a politician and I know this stuff. This is pretty basic. They want to use sound bites, they use words like pound in pocket, keys in hands for houses, and getting on the property ladder. That's as deep as they go.
Can you give me a figure?
I know it's really low, and I'm appalled by it.
No shit, it is really low. And guess what? If you're letting in 1 million people, for example, a year, and you're only completing 300,000, for example, a year, it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to determine there's going to be a housing shortage. And equity, people sitting pretty in houses, are going to be loving it because their property value goes up. And we know that Sutik here took advantage of that with a little tax avoidance of his own. Don't remember? I think there was a story yesterday or the day before that said that he bought a plot of land near his mum's property because she loved donkeys, absolutely loved donkeys. He put it into a trust for them to benefit from. He remained on the title deed, so it was always his property, and he was going to inherit the trust when they pass on. Words to the not so wise, Mr. Keir Starmer. You don't need to own a plot of land to enjoy donkeys, alright? Just look at your front bench first of all. Second of all, you can go out to the countryside and enjoy all the nature. You don't need to own a land to enjoy it. And even if there was a plot of land with donkeys on the back of your parents' home or near it, again, you don't need to own it.
As well,
What's
but
the
that
figure?
is because the Conservatives didn't get the applications.
Please don't tell me you don't know the number
Conservatives
as
didn't get the
housing secretary.
applications.
This is quite painful. It goes on for about 4 minutes, and he doesn't have the figure. She has to tell him the figure. So he does get owned. So I'm going to spare you that. I'm going to spare you that because it's not really necessary. It's just the sheer incompetence of the Labour front bench. Any of the MPs, they're all NPCs. They can't think creatively. They can't think on the feet. They probably couldn't even do a 10-15 minute YouTube video like I'm doing here. They'd need notes. I freewheel most of the time, and most of it's off the top of my head. Now we're going to go on to the next clip. This one's quite revealing, alright? This is Rachel Reeves. She thinks that you can support Reform UK and not be racist, but the party inherently is racist itself. So we're going to look at this one now.
Support a racist policy and not be racist.
I think it is a racist policy, and let me tell you why.
You know, I
Because there's
understand
lots
that,
of people-
but how can it doesn't matter whether I do, but how could one support a racist policy and not be racist?
It's pretty obvious. She doesn't say it. Nick Ferrari's clearly thinking it. It's because you're thick. It's because you're stupid. You're a stupid racist gammon. You voted for Brexit. You won't vote Labour. And why? You do not know what you are voting for. That is why. You are a simpleton if you've not been to university and been indoctrinated with the ideology. Then you couldn't possibly have anything of value to offer. This is what Rachel Reeves will get at, or this is the inference where you can support a racist party because you don't know it's racist. So you're thick, you're stupid. That's the inference that we get to.
People support the Reform Party for all sorts of reasons.
This policy, Chancellor, these policies as regards deportations. If you support a racist policy, I cannot see if you support a racist policy how you're not racist yourself. No?
Because people support the Reform Party for all sorts of different reasons, often
But this
not even
policy-
knowing the detail
There we go. Not knowing, you've not looked at the detail.
of this the policies. But this policy is a racist policy, and you'll have lots of listeners
I do.
who might be at work today sitting next to somebody who wasn't born in this country. Their next door neighbour might not have been born in this country. They might be married to somebody who wasn't born in this country. And what Nigel Farage and the Reform Party are saying is that they would deport those people.
Yes, no,
That
I
is
understand.
racist.
But you can support that policy but not be racist yourself. I just want to clarify that.
Well, do people support that policy? I'm not sure many people do.
There we go. If you do support the policy, you're racist. She's careful not to say that the voters are racist, however, that's the inference. And the rationale is they've not looked at the detail. I can assure you, Ms. Reeves, I've seen the detail. I like the detail. On contrary to what you think or believe, many people in the North are not communists. I'm just down the road from Liverpool. There was a lot of nice welcome signs that you got into Liverpool as well, a party conference this year, so I'm told. The red wall's gone, the red wall is over. This sort of divisive rhetoric that you're spitting is not going to win anyone over.
Lots of people support the Reform Party, but we have to push them on their policies.
Okay.
And I think there are lots of people who back Reform who would be horrified by the thought that people who came to this country legally, who are working and contributing, would be deported from this country.
Okay, we'll leave that one there. I want to unpack that slightly now. There's a lot of countries all over the world that have a policy that goes much further than what Reform is currently proposing. It's not a racist policy, it's perfectly reasonable. A lot of people will support the policy when it goes further. The question is, it's not whether they're contributing, it's whether they're a net contributor or they're a net drain on the economy. We already know that about 86% of people that arrived on visas last year were not working. So by default, they're going to be dependents or students or here for other reasons. These people need to go. The entire Boris wave needs to go. This is the difference between Reform and Labour. And finally, Shabana Mahmood, or Mahmood. I said I'd circle round to her. She's got a few choice words about the people that go on the Unite the Kingdom rallies. Contrary to popular belief, they are not Tommy Robinson rallies. Yes, he is a factor. Yes, he probably does draw some people there. People go on these rallies for a multitude of reasons. I would never, never be so bold as to tar everybody with the same brush, because the left don't like it when they do it, and we don't like it when they do it, and they don't like it when we do it either. So it swings and roundabouts. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Of that fact, just days into this job. On the 13th of September, 150,000 people marched through London. They did so under the banner of a convicted criminal and a former BNP member.
Ooh.
While not everyone was violent, some were.
Yeah, I think out of the just under 30 arrests, I think eight were protesters from the Unite the Kingdom rally, and the other people arrested, nearly double or over double, were from the counter-protest. So get your figures right, sweetheart. And have you mentioned anything about all the violence at the Notting Hill Carnival? Or the Free Palestine rallies? No, I didn't think you did.
26 police officers were injured as they tried to keep the peace. And while not everyone chanted racist slogans, some did. Clear that in their view of this country, I have no place. It would be easy to dismiss this as nothing but an angry minority.
We'll leave that there because she goes on to use racist slurs against her own people of Pakistani heritage. I'm very aware of the YouTube guidelines and I won't be able to play that part of the video. But that's the difference, you see. They can call themselves the racist slurs, but nobody else can. And it's also curious that people like her, who identify as both Pakistani and British, do have a native homeland that we can go to if they feel that Britain is no longer acceptable, or reflects the diverse and inclusive nature of the New Labour project. Many people who remember a time before New Labour, when the country was actually cohesive and worked, don't have that option, do not have that luxury, do not have that on the table. So before you call us all racist, before you all call us far-right Garans, think about who you're trying to win over with your rhetoric, with your speeches. Is it any of the voters that you're hemorrhaging to the Hezbollah Party, to the Green Party, to the Reform Party? Or is the people in your audience, the paid up members that are already convinced? You're not convincing anybody. Labour is done. Labour is finished. These Unite the Kingdom rallies are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And let's face it, both the Tories and the Labour Party only have themselves to blame. Now, if you like this video, and you think I'm onto something, make me aware, consider subscribing, and consider sharing the video. Have a good day and thank you for watching.